And I think it's up to the individual, and we should have laws and rules and all that stuff around that stuff. But I mean, I think when you start to put unnecessary rules around innovation, now you're talking about that arms race. Now you're talking about we're going to put so many rules around us in, say, the United States that it constricts our innovation to the point where other nations and even potentially nation states from a negative perspective or cyber actors, they get to innovate unencumbered. And so now their progress is going to far outpace us because we're trying to over index on how do we control everything. And so I think there's a little bit of a balance that we have to figure.
Do you think that companies are potentially at risk for overcorrecting for AI in terms of, overestimating the value that AI will deliver to their business, at least in the near term, right? And so now you see all these, job layoffs and everything, right? And there's a whole host of reasons, right? But I feel like in technology, when you see the layoffs nowadays in specific technology orgs, it's almost like, oh, okay, they're trying to like offset us, with AI. And then I saw it personally, right? Where the CEO of the company that I was at, not now, but previously, just very openly said in a call that he wants to involve AI into every facet of our business. And then the very first question was, okay, well, are you getting rid of this entire category of employee? And he had to, reword it a little bit. But at the end of the day, we're all smart people that can, use our brains. And essentially, that's what he said. If AI can replace you, I'm replacing you.
But here's the thing, and I would say more often than not, if an organization's talking about replacing people with AI, I think they're kind of using it as a scapegoat. I mean, that's just my personal stance because I think for the most part, in most situations, in most roles, artificial intelligence cannot replace a person for the most part. I think artificial intelligence is really good at augmenting people. I think it's really good at making people better, faster, more competent at their own jobs. And sure, maybe there are some actions that artificial intelligence can take that will make things a little bit faster, more efficient. It's glorified automation at the end of the day. And I think that, the folks that are using that, they're just using it to cut the bottom line. Sure, maybe they're using that money to invest more in artificial intelligence. Day one, you're not going to cut 5,000 people and all of a sudden AI is doing the job of those 5,000 people. That's just not how it works. And when you're talking about how organizations are leveraging it. So with the SANS Institute, I'm a senior advisor over there. And so I travel around the country doing these Jeffersonian dinners. Have you ever been to a Jeffersonian dinner?
Not yet.
Okay, so a Jeffersonian dinner is, you know how the usual vendor dinner happens is you come in, you talk to your person on your left, you talk to your person on your right, you eat your steak dinner, and you get the heck out of there, right? So what I do instead, and I've been doing this for years, is I do a Jeffersonian style where I'm the moderator. It's between 8 and 30 people. We sit down, and then I tell the rules, right? We're all having one conversation. One person speaks at a time. Each time you speak, try to keep it underneath 2 minutes. You don't want anybody trying to do a filibuster. And you'll talk for an hour and a half to 2 hours. And it's all one conversation. So everyone's voice is heard. If someone's talking, you're really focused on what they're saying. And I'm having executives from all different organizations. I'm having folks that are hour analysts all the way up to CISO, and they all have different perspectives of artificial intelligence. And the one big theme that I've gathered from these multiple dinners that I've had is that everyone's still trying to figure out exactly what to do with artificial intelligence. There are a lot of organizations that are like, hey, we need AI. Why? Because AI is awesome. But why? Because we need it and everyone else is doing it. But the thing you need to really look at is what is the problem you're trying to solve first? And are there any other things that could solve that problem? And then is AI the number one tool that you could leverage to solve that problem? That's how you kind of need to start looking at it, because I think folks are just trying to keep up with the Joneses and bring artificial intelligence into their organization because it's a cool thing to do. But I think that if you're really intentional and you're really thoughtful about how you leverage AI, that's when it's going to make a change for an organ.
Yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense, because it feels like people are trying to incorporate this thing without having like the full understanding of its own capabilities, right? And that's at least the feeling that I get personally when I look at it, where it's like, do you actually know that it can do that? You know, like AI does a really great job for me personally because I have like writer's block. You
Hmm.
know, like I can't like just write code from nothing. You know, I kind of need something to go off of it, right? Like I don't know what that is, but that's just how I've been. But it gets me started, right? And it's not like 100% correct, but it gets me, 70, 80% of the way there. And then I'm filling in the other stuff and thinking about it. Oh, I should add this or I should add this thing over here, and start referencing like that. I find that to be a whole lot more valuable than anything else.
100%. There are organizations out there, vendors out there saying like, oh, we have AI SOC operators that can completely replace tier one or tier two and sometimes even tier three operators. And I'm like, no, you can't. You can't do that yet.
Yeah.
No way. That thing would go off the rails as soon as you put it into a production environment. And I can't imagine, some of the, I guess we used to call it cheese, but some of the cheese that they have to eat when they realize that, man, maybe we kind of ate the elephant with this one, being saying that we can take over all of this stuff. I think the developers, the folks that are really going about it right, is they're finding a really thin slice of what can we leverage AI to help solve, and then we're going to build from there, rather than saying like, hey, we're going to just take over all of security operations and we're going to solve it with artificial intelligence. Now people are starting to pedal back a little bit because now, you're starting to run into customers who are like, hey, this thing is a piece of crap because now it's making mistakes that I wouldn't even see a tier one operator that just started yesterday make. So, I mean, you got to be intelligent with how you leverage the tools that you use.
Yeah, I wonder if like the cybersecurity job market right now is kind of reflective of that, right? Because I say that because you have all these job openings and then you go to them. I only look at LinkedIn jobs
Right.
when I'm on the market. I'm going
Yeah.
to make that very clear in case my manager's hearing, right? But you see like immediately, right? These jobs were posted 2 hours ago. You have over 100 applicants for it. What's even creating that? I mean, there's always been like an influx for security professionals where there's going to be some postings that are, yeah, they're filled up right off the bat. But like by the time I get to page, 3, right, it's typically opened up, not that many applicants. I feel like I have a chance now. It just something seems off. You,
It is all.
you know?
It is all. And I'll give you my own personal anecdotes. Before I went out and started Commandant AI, before I was doing the stuff with Sands, I was on the job market myself. I was looking to see what was out there, looking to see like, hey, where's my next home going to go? And I probably applied to maybe 60 or so different jobs. Back, I would say from 2015 and below, I would have interviews like that. Anytime I applied to a job, I pretty much got an interview. I probably got one interview out of those 60 or so applications. And I mean, I'm sure some folks take that as like a personal thing and say, like, wow, maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was. But what I looked at it was, I was like, being able to apply is so easy today. There are applications that you can say, apply for me. You don't even have to look for the job yourself. You can say, like, here's my resume. I want you to apply to 20 different recs every single day, and it'll do it. And that makes it very difficult for hiring managers to sift through 1,000 different applications.